To squat or not to squat? That was never the question. The question is if you do a back squat, whether you should do it high bar or low bar. What are the benefits of using one in detriment of the other? And why should you do it? Today we're gonna teach you. Let's go, Georgia boy. I win, so I do the high bar.
Okay, so now Willow is doing the high bar. He thinks he's a good Chinese man and he can squat very vertically.
Squat like a Chinese man.
So he's gonna descend really straight, push the knees out, keep the chest up high and looking straight forward. Yes, good. Give me 5 more, 5 more. Yes.
George here is gonna do the low bar back squat, and from now, all you gotta know is it's a little lower, the barbell, obviously it's a low bar, and it's gonna be in line with your rear delts. Your elbows are gonna be in line with your fists. You're gonna bring your hip backwards a little bit because your torso is gonna be a little bit on the incline. So the high bar versus the low bar. Now let's get specific. Now that you've seen both variations, we're gonna go into some detail. So it's not just a question of putting the barbell higher or lower, because once you put it higher or lower, something in your body will have to change in order to accommodate the movement. Let's begin with the high bar back squat. So once you do the high bar, the barbell will be placed on top of your traps. That means you'll have to keep your torso very upright when you go down. Because if you don't, if you incline your torso forward, you might fall. So what does this mean? You have to have a lot of mobility. You have to be able to go down in a straight position, and your knees are obviously gonna pass your toes, which is something that a lot of people say, oh, your knees can't pass your toes. Of course they can, they have to. You're doing a high bar back squat. So this means a lot of ankle mobility. You'll have to have a lot of dorsiflexion, which means your toes will be coming upward and you're gonna close this angle here because the knees are gonna surpass your toes. This will also mean that you're gonna work your quads like hell because of the stretch reflex when you go all the way down. So it's very knee extensor oriented. That's basically the main joint that you're working with this movement.
For the low bar squat, we're gonna assume a more inclined torso because we want to involve more the hips. So the position of the bar is gonna be slightly different. We're gonna put the bar just below the spine of the scapula, just on top of your rear delts. This will allow you to sit back and rely a lot on your hips and your hip extensors to do the movement. We're gonna incline also because it's the position that will allow you also to keep the bar in line with the mid of your foot.
And by doing this position, because you're inclining your body forward, you're gonna use a lot of the hip extension as well. So not only the knee extension, but the hip extension will help you. So a lot more muscles will be involved. It's common to feel your lower back, your glutes, and a little bit of your hamstrings. But please don't let the hamstrings take over all of the work. If you feel the hamstrings most and foremost, that means something is wrong within the movement. Remember, let's not confuse this exercise with a good morning or a deadlift. This is a back squat. Now let's get into the advantages or disadvantages of using either the high bar or the low bar. So functionally speaking, let's go with the high bar first. Functionally speaking, obviously, it works your mobility, it works your strength. Obviously, you're going up. Athletically, it's got a lot of transfer into all types of jumping movements and weightlifting movements, because when you're doing weightlifting, you're receiving the barbell in this upright position with your butt sticking in the middle or between your feet. So the high bar would be the best thing for you if that's what you want.
But a lot of people cannot do the high bar because they don't have the ankle mobility necessary to do the movement on a straight line and vertically.
Yeah, because if especially taller athletes, especially those who have big femurs or long legs, they might not be able to do the high bar back squat all the way down. So why trying to do it your whole life when you can get the same benefits with the low bar? But some of them are lazy as well and can do the high bar back squat. So if you can't do it, why not use it every once in a while, okay? Don't be lazy, just be, oh, because I'm tall, oh, because I have a shortening of my calves. Bullshit. Mamma mia.
Now for the low bar, it can be an excellent option. Because of its nature and the torso angle, you can load more weight and using more the hip extension than just the knees extensor.
Yeah, that way you'll have the best of both worlds, really. You have not only the knee joint and the hip joint, so you can recruit your hamstrings a little bit, but mostly your glutes, your lower back, and your quads, obviously. So even for those people who want to get a little bit more booty, for example, once they change from a high bar, if they're very quad dominant, they change to a low bar, they get a lot more glute development. It's not a miracle, it's because of the position of the low bar.
And of course, it's used more in the powerlifting competitions.
Now for the cons. Usually when people talk about the cons, if they're not talking about lower back pain, which we'll be talking about in a minute, they're talking about weightlifting. So for weightlifting, you have to keep your torso straight, so the best exercise would be the high bar back squat, but not so fast. Once you do and get very strong in the muscles that you need to do for the low bar, you're in a very similar position to the position you are when you're doing the first and the second pull in weightlifting. So remember that you're in a squat position with your torso inclined. So when you do that for the weightlifting, it might help you with that first and second pull. And also for weightlifters, since a lot of weightlifters take off the deadlift out of their programming, if they do the low bar every once in a while, you get the same benefits that you were looking for in the deadlift, but with a squat as well. So it might be a good idea to incorporate it every once in a while. Just every once in a while.
Now for the lower back pain. Some people experience lots of low back pain when doing the low bar, but also lots of people experience lots of pain when doing the high bar squats. Personally, I experience improvements on my lower back health while doing the low bar squats. Improved a lot because it forces me to get my lower back stronger and also my glutes stronger.
So it's really not a matter of which one is better, but it's a matter of which one is the best for you and for your needs. So I hope this helped. One other great way to do a back squat is with the SSB, safety squat bar. The way it is put on your back, if you're a low bar lover, this will work more of your quads because you hardly have to think about technique. You're in a very neutral position and you go all the way down. It's like a leg press. So this is one other accessory that you should have in your gym and that you should use every once in a while if you want to really focus on the strength of your legs. Now that you know the difference between low bar and high bar, tell me in the comment section which one do you prefer, and be Willow, very Willow, Willow very, very Willow, strong. Work.
And Willow is now working on the deadlift. He's going to put the rubber band over the bar. He's going to put his feet over the elastic. Now he's going to deadlift. Key point here, we're accommodating resistance. At his weakest